Peace, 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 peace. Good people, how y'all doing? This is your girl, Renee Myers, tuning in for story time with more of my. We are in the book Black Privilege by Charlamagne the God, chapter 1. I took a break last night reading this, and so I'm coming back with part 2 of chapter 1, and we're just gonna get into it. He's been talking about the importance of books, your mindset not being where you are. You can be born in a small town with not much to do, country dirt roads like Monk's Corner, South Carolina, where he grew up, but have a LA, New York mindset. Like, just because where you at doesn't define where you can go and be. So, all right, let's get into it. Charlamagne the God, Black Privilege, Chapter 1, Part 2. The Microphone Fiend. As a kid, R&B was the dominant music heard in our home. My mother loved the Supremes. She still plays them for my daughter today, while my father was into soul and funk, especially James Brown. The godfather of soul was born in Barnwell, South Carolina, and I think my father always felt a connection with him because of that. My dad used to have this black Datsun pickup truck, and he would drive around Monk's Corner playing song after song of James Brown. From the old stuff like Cold Sweat and Say It Loud to the funky shit like Doing It to Death and I'm a Greedy Man, my father loved every groove James ever recorded. He even managed to crash James's funeral in Augusta, Georgia, talking his way onto the stage by acting like he was a part of the family. In a way, he was. The same was my father the same way my father couldn't get enough James Brown, I developed a similar love affair with hip hop. Like all true hip hop junkies, I can still clearly remember the time I got my first hit. I was with my cousin, Tyrone McKelvey, at my Uncle Harris and Aunt Lottie's house when Tyrone announced, I got a new song I'm going to let you hear. As if he was about to let me in on a big secret. He stuck in the tape, and soon I was transfixed by a bass line that felt like it was reaching out of the speakers and punching me in the chest. Then came a deep voice that was at once both harder and slicker than anything I'd ever heard before. Thinking of a master plan, 'cause ain't nothing but sweat inside my hand. When I heard Rakim spit those opening lines, it was like a whole new world had opened up before me. The song sampled the soul sound of my father's generation, Don't Look Any Further, from the Temptations' Dennis Edwards, but Rakim's voice sounded like it was speaking directly to me. He was describing a struggle I was already seeing around me, not enough money to buy groceries or pay the rent, but in a way, that sounded empowering. Rakim might have only had sweat inside his hand, but his voice was so self-assured and intelligent that you just knew it was only a matter of time before he got his hands on some money again. In fact, the song was called Paid in Full. He wasn't just going to get paid, he was going to get paid in full. In those 3 minutes, my life was transformed forever. From that moment on, I was all in on this hip hop thing, soaking up every single, remember those? Cassette and CD I could get my hands on. No, I don't remember a single. I don't. In the early 90s, that meant listening to a lot of New York legends like Biggie, Nas, Wu-Tang, and my personal favorites, Mobb Deep. Studying their lyrics, which I love to do, I be listening to songs and I can't help what I hear. Because I'm like, you said that? People are talking like this on a song? Um, okay, let me back up. Alright, studying their lyrics, I began to notice references to places that I'd never heard of before. What is this Queensbridge Nas speaks of? I'd ask myself. I don't know it, but if it birthed Nas, it must be popping. Wu-Tang kept referencing Shaolin. Is that where all the gods go to build? I wondered. And Biggie kept talking about BK. I didn't know if he was referencing Burger King or some other place, but if he was referencing it, I wanted to check it out. I had the same reaction to Outkast and Goody Mob rapping about Atlanta, or Tupac shouting out LA. I'd never set foot in California, but To Live and Die in LA described the city with so much energy that Pac made me feel like I'd been there. When I did make it to LA for the first time years later, thanks to Tupac, I hit the ground with the confidence of someone who'd grown up in South Central. My crew and I loved those songs so much that eventually we started naming spots around Monk's Corner after the places we'd heard shouted out. Highway 6, a notorious drug corridor, became Shaolin after Wu-Tang's nickname for Staten Island. The neighborhood of Whitesville became Brownsville after MOP's Brooklyn stomping ground. House where we sold dope became Queensbridge after the home of Nas and Mobb Deep. A lot of folks in the media at the time were calling hip hop a cancer, a negative influence on African American youth. They said it promoted violence and was misogynistic. They may have been right, but it was having a different influence on me. The truth was that hip hop wasn't just helping me come up with corny nicknames for places around Mock's Corner. It was sparking my interest in history. It was whetting my appetite for knowledge, definitely more than it was being sparked in school. As I pored over the lyrics of groups like Public Enemy or Wu-Tang Clan, the messages of black consciousness my father had been pushing on me started to feel more relevant. When I heard Public Enemy say, Farrakhan's a prophet and I think you ought to listen, or Biggie say that he was deep like the mind of Farrakhan, the dots began to connect. Thanks to hip hop, I started devouring books off my father's reading list, like The Message to the Black Man in America, which exposed systematic racism, and I Kills From Niggas to God, which expanded on the 5% teachings I'd heard referenced in many songs. The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukov, and The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene's classic that was quoted by so many rappers, also helped me become more strategic in my thinking. People don't realize how a man's whole life can be changed by one book. That's a quote by Malcolm X. The combined effect of these books and music on my mentality was extremely powerful. Imagine me as a teenager. I'm lying on my bed in our trailer late at night. Occasionally, I hear a car kicking up pebbles as it drives down our dirt road. The only other sounds are crickets and bullfrogs outside my window. I'm truly stuck out in the middle of nowhere, a million miles away from where the action is. But in my busted CD Walkman, a piece of tape holding down the battery hatch, a whole other world is forming. Wu-Tang Clan's Cream starts to play softly through the headphones, just loud enough that I can hear it without waking up my mom in the next room. Leave it up to me while I be living proof to kick the truth to the young black youth, but Shorty's running wild, smoking cess, drinking beer, and ain't trying to hear what I'm kicking in his ear. As Inspector Deck spit those rhymes over a relentless, driving RZA production, my mind is far away from the cornfields, dirt roads, and swamps outside my window. Nope, I'm weaving through the streets of New York City in a kitted out Jeep, flying past bold gas and housing projects. Instead of a small town country boy, I feel like a rap superhero, capable of leaping over my small pond in a single bound and landing wherever I damn well please. That's the confidence I always got from hip hop. When Rakim said he was born to be the sole controller of the universe, besides the part of the map I hit first, that power came through the speakers and went directly into my soul. Yes, the map might say I was stuck in Mark's Corner for now, but my home was about to be the cosmos. With hip hop and books empowering me, the excuse I'm from this small ass town simply wasn't going to be a good enough reason for me not to make it. I learned that from Malcolm X to Method Man, from Louis Farrakhan to the notorious B.I.G., so many of my heroes had grown up in circumstances as bad, if not worse, than mine. If you let society tell it, none of them should have achieved what they did. But they had made it. They had become legends. Because someone who planted the seed in their minds that they were bigger than whatever environment could have easily held them down. Just like they had instilled that sense of confidence in me. Which is why I have to say thank you to Rakim for planting the seed in my mind that it ain't where you're from physically, but where you're at mentally, that allows someone to transcend their circumstances. And then thank you to the Wu-Tangs, the Mobb Deeps, and the Nas of the world for watering that seed until it blossomed into a confident young man who was determined to transcend whatever barriers life seemed to have put in front of him. Shout out to art. Right? Art is an imitation of life. It's expression. It's therapy. It's healing. Art got a lot going on. What's this light? Okay, there we go. Art got a lot going on, right? Shout out to these artists. Yes. Beyond your zone. In order to chase your dreams to their end, you must be very focused on getting inspiration where it's available. Take books. Just by the fact that you're reading these pages, you obviously respect the value of the written word. Make sure, however, that you continue to explore books that don't seem to directly connect with your experience. If you're a young black woman, read up on some of the experiences of Asian men. If you're a white guy, pick up a book about the struggle of black women or the immigrant experience. If you're into sports, read a book about science. Or if you're mainly read self-help books, check out a historical novel. As I learned from my mother, there's incredible power in subjects that don't seem to pertain to you. One of the best books I read recently is Gary Vaynerchuk's Jab, 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 Right Hook, a guide to how to get your story across on social media. On the surface, I wouldn't seem to have that much in common with Gary. He was born in Russia and as a kid moved to New Jersey where his parents opened a liquor store. He did poorly in school. Okay, maybe we do have something in common. And spent most of his time helping out around their shop or selling baseball cards. After college, he took over the family business and through a combination of social media savvy, aggressive pricing, and all around hustle, transformed it into a $3 million to $50 million business in just over 5 years. Gary doesn't look like me. He didn't grow up in a trailer. He wasn't raised in the same religion as me. Hell, he didn't even start off speaking the same language as me. But his story still spoke directly to me. It motivated the shit out of me to keep hustling every day. And when I interviewed him on The Breakfast Club and my podcast, The Brilliant Idiots, a lot of people said they were some of our most motivational episodes ever. Exploring people and ideas outside your comfort zone is one where hip hop has been, unfortunately, very weak. As a culture, we don't allow ourselves a chance to grow. If something doesn't look like us or sound like us, we have a tendency to dismiss it out of hand. I grew up as black as you can get. You ain't getting any blacker than Larry McKelvin's son, but I still refuse to have a limited cultural experience. If something seems authentic and interesting, I'm going to check it out. Whether on the surface it appears to be hip hop or not, I'm never going to dismiss anything until I explore whether it might have some value for me. One year I was at the iHeartRadio Music Awards and they had a tribute to Freddie Mercury and Queen, who I admittedly didn't know that much about. When I saw them on stage playing Another One Bites the Dust, I said, oh shit, these guys were white? Another One Bites the Dust used to have the zebra rocking, so I assumed they were black. My dad, Mr. Black Power, probably knew they were white, but that didn't stop him from playing them in his club. If a song rocks, it rocks. Just as if a book is interesting, it's interesting. Never stunt your own growth by dismissing something just because it doesn't feel familiar. That's good. That's very good. Because we can get very prejudiced or judgmental, or I don't know like how somebody look or where they from, or I ain't nothing in common I can learn. There's always something to be learned, even in the things that are not maybe in our immediate interest. The holy ground of Walmart. Another mistake people with small pond mindsets make is not being motivated by the success stories taking place right in front of them. I've always had the opposite mentality. Growing up, I looked for every possible connection between myself and someone successful, no matter how tenuous the link might seem. I'll never forget flipping through the TV one afternoon after school and landing on BET's Rap City. The host, Big Tigger, was introducing DJ B-Lord as a guest on the show. Live from North Carolina is B-Lord, Tigger said before B quickly corrected him with, no, I'm from South Carolina. It was a seemingly insignificant moment, a couple of seconds on a video show, but it hit me like a lightning bolt. Wow, I remember thinking, that DJ on a national TV show just said he was from South Carolina. And I would do the same thing because I'm from North Carolina, and if people say, oh, she from South Carolina, no, North Carolina. Get my Carolina straight. Someone from my state was a guest on the same show that Method Man, Raekwon, and Mobb Deep had all been on. The artist I've been worshiping. With the simple words, no, I'm from South Carolina, suddenly a direct path from Moncks Corner to the rest of the world opened up before me. If B-Lord can make it, I can do something too, I told myself, and I never lost that faith. I got the same surge of confidence the first time I heard Wu-Tang's Inspect the Deck rap. I smoke on the mic like smoking Joe Frazier. Why? Because I know Joe Frazier was from Beaumont, South Carolina. Philly might try to claim him, but Smoking Joe was ours. My father kept a picture of him fighting Muhammad Ali in our trailer and always reminded me he was a Carolina boy. So hearing him shout it out in one of my favorite songs was like putting another battery in my back. Great people are born here, I figured. If he made it, I can make it too. Here's a quote by Gary Vaynerchuk on the Brilliant Idiots podcast with Charlamagne. If one person that looks like you made it, then you can too. And hell, even if they didn't, you could be the one person that makes it. I was also inspired by Ryan and Doug Stewart, who were multi-sport stars in Moncks Corner. Ryan won a football scholarship to Georgia Tech and ended up getting drafted by the Detroit Lions, playing in NFL for 5 years. From there, he and Doug started a sports radio show in Atlanta called Two Live Stews, one of the all-time great show names, and then started popping up on ESPN. Whenever I seen them on ESPN's First Take, one of my favorite shows, I think, man, I've watched those guys come up. If people respect their opinions on TV, then there's no reason they can't respect mine. Seeing local athletes get college scholarships always motivated me. From 1995 to 2000, it felt like there was already a steady stream of guys from Moncks Corner who were getting a free education thanks to their football skills. Rusty Williams got a scholarship to Auburn. My cousin Tori Liferidge to Duke. My other cousin Mal Lawyer to Clemson. Yet another cousin Kenta Palmer to Penn State. Courtney Brown, who is from Alvin, the next town over from Moncks Corner, also went to Penn State and then became the number one pick in the NFL draft. Sports was never my thing, so there was no chance I was going to get that sort of ticket out of town. Still, watching so many of my peers head out to college made me think, I've got to do better too. It wasn't limited to sports either. When my girlfriend, now my wife, Mook Mook, graduated in 2000, she went to the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Knowing that my mother had graduated college back in her day motivated me too. Being aware of all that success made me think, I can't be a bum, I gotta do something too. I would even find inspiration in places as unlikely as Walmart. Growing up, if it was late night and me and my homeboys were getting tired of sitting around playing video games, we'd go down to Walmart to look at shit. I thank God for 24-hour Walmarts, because in a small town, even just wandering the aisles let me feel like I was ending my night on a high. As pathetic as that might sound to some of you who grew up in real cities, it was a big deal to me. I can say Walmart became my place of worship to a larger world. That sense of being a portal to opportunity became even more significant after I learned about the owners of the chain, the Walton family. The guy who started the company, Sam Walton, was from a small town just like me. In fact, the town he was born in, Kingfisher, Oklahoma, had a population of only around 2,500 people, making it a smaller pond than Moncks Corner. No easy feat. When I read Sam Walton's story, I just figured, if this guy from the middle of nowhere could make his dreams come true, why couldn't I? I didn't care that Sam Walton was a white man or that he was passionate about retail, which has never been an area of interest to me. I just knew he had come from a small town and built something national, something with a legacy. That was more than enough for me. Embrace your core. While it's important to rise above your roots and transcend your circumstances, it is also key that no matter where life takes you, you must never get detached from the roots. You can go from swimming in the smallest pond to controlling the oceans like Poseidon, but if you lose touch with your core, you're going to find yourself adrift. Make no mistake about it, Moncks Corner is my core, and as any real trainer will tell you, when your core isn't strong, everything else is going to fall apart. For instance, I'm having a great run in this media game, but there are absolutely still times when I become unsure of myself. Times when I feel confused about the moves I should be making, when I feel like I'm missing opportunities that I can't see, when I feel like my energy is blocked and I'm stuck in a rut. Every one of us feels this from time to time. How you handle those feelings is what will set you apart. When I'm stuck, my solution isn't to leave my house in New Jersey and go party in Manhattan. I don't try to make myself feel better by hanging out with fake industry people who are going to tell me how great I am all night, or a bunch of IG models who only want to be around me because I'm a little famous. No, when I'm stuck, I reconnect with my core. That means getting on a plane to Charleston and then heading straight to Moncks Corner. I will literally drive to my mom's house and go sleep in my old bedroom. The room is the room is basically how I left it. There's still a closet full of Fade and Old, The Source, XXL, and Blaze magazines. The pages I used to study, like Muslims study the Quran or Jews the Torah. I'll pick them up and read fading articles about Ghostface Killer, my favorite MC, or Mobb Deep's protege, just to remind myself of the energy I used to get from those pages. When I can reconnect with the dreams my younger self used to have, whatever little drama or doubt that was getting me down quickly becomes irrelevant. But I'm not done. After recharging at my mother's house, I'll drive to my late grandmother Rosa Lee Ford's house. God bless the dead. Nobody lives there anymore, but I'll still sit on her porch and soak up all that house's great energy. I'll meditate and pray, and soon I'll feel like I'm talking to my grandmother again. It feels very natural, since, as I mentioned, my grandmother always used to say she communicated with my dead grandfather. Having a similar chat with her gives me a peaceful feeling. After we talk, I'll open up the front door and go sit inside her empty house. I do it every trip because there's a big bolt on the door and it can be a hassle to get the key. If you've ever entered an empty house, you know you're greeted by tremendous energy the moment you step across the threshold. It freaks some people out, but I embrace it. I love to revisit all my beautiful memories and reconnect with that kid who was so full of dreams. It never fails to get me back on point. I'm going to pause there real quick. Reconnecting with your inner child. I'm actually, it's in alignment with what's happening in this season. I'm in a group called um, Sisters in Solidarity. I'm sorry, I didn't know if it was Sisters with Solidarity or Sisters in Solidarity. Anyways, I'm in a group with some women, and we do a Affirmation Mondays call, but then we also do things, in this group, sharing things, and getting intentional about our growth and stuff. And so in this season of our sisterhood, we're focusing on like our inner child. And just whatever, that doing playful things, like remembering, because even if we didn't have the best childhood, the energy and spirit of being a child, being curious, playful, um, not having to have things by the book. We're not saying go back to being and acting childish, but just remembering her, loving on her, healing him or her, like acknowledging, just freeness that we had as a youth. All right, so there's an African proverb here: when the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear the wind. It doesn't matter whether you're in media, law, sales, or education. Hold on, guys. I made me some tea and it's cool down. I don't want it to get cold. It doesn't matter whether you're in media, law, sales, or education. Between Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever else comes next, all of our minds are cluttered these days. All of us feel overwhelmed by the pace of life, knocked off balance by the never-ending stream of information we read, watch, and listen to every day. In order to get your equilibrium right, you must return to your core. If you can still physically go back, jump in the car or on a plane and get there ASAP. Lie in your old bed and reconnect with your old dreams. Sit on your front porch and remember how you felt as a young man or woman. If your relatives aren't around anymore, close your eyes and talk to your grandma or your grandfather or the auntie who raised you. Celebrate that the street you might live on now is nicer, but also embrace the dirt road you grew up on. Appreciate that all your power emanates from that dirt and that you wouldn't have it any other way. You'll probably shed a few tears, but they'll be empowering, not painful. Whether you grew up in a trailer in a dusty southern town, a housing project in Queens, or even a mansion in LA, understand that the dreams you had lying in your old bed or sitting on your old stoop are what got you where you are today, and that losing touch with them is the only thing that can stop you from transcending your circumstances. Well, all right. That is the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is going to be PYP. Pick your passion, poison, or procrastination. So we'll get to that. And again, we are in Charlamagne the God, one of the co-hosts of the Breakfast Club. Black privilege, opportunity comes to those who create it. So thank y'all for tuning in with me. Storytime with More My. If you have any book suggestions, leave a comment. Share, like this video, subscribe. I appreciate y'all, and I'll be tuning in with y'all again real soon. Peace.